Super. Good morning. I'm Rhonda Burkhardt from HCC, and today we are going to be discussing the document store, which is a new feature within USAS, USPS, Inventory, ESS. So
Windows, okay.
it's a great new feature here. All right, and I'm going to show my screen. All right, so we're going to be posting the webinar in our usual spot on the HCC website, and that's going to be under Finance, and our links and training page, and then under the HCC training recordings. And we've got our specific topics. We'll put it right up here. We'll be calling just Document Store because it affects many modules. So we'll just call it Document Store. We'll put it right up here. You can see last week's, if you saw the account changes one from last week, that is right there. And then Tanya did one on W-2 overtime reporting, that's there as well. If you would like a refresher, or maybe you weren't able to join us at that time, then you can go ahead and review those topics. We have other topics on there as well. Inventory is always a hot topic, and then also budgeting. There was one from budgeting a couple of years ago. Budgeting doesn't change too much, but we have it recorded there if you need a refresher for that. All right, so let me go ahead and we'll jump right into it here. So the document store, you may have heard a buzz about this. I'm not sure how much it's been circulating, but it's a new way to do document storage. It's kind of more of a link that will take your, it's like a link that will go out of your USAS, USPS, Inventory, ESS, and into a separate document storage kind of central, we'll say, a filing cabinet, electronic filing cabinet. So instead of having it stored within each instance, and the benefit is that backups take a long time when you have to resave over things over and over and over again, and it helps with our backups. It also has a couple extra features which we'll be talking about. So let's see. Things are stored in a different spot in USAS and USPS instead of utilities file archive. Those files will now be moved from the file archive into a new section called document storage. And then in inventory, they're actually going to be under system. We don't have a demo instance for inventory currently, so I just included a screenshot of that and what that will look like in the guide here. So, and they'll have fiscal year reports and audit reports in there, and it looks pretty similar to what it looks like in USAS, USPS. So, because it's only done yearly. So there's also another feature. One of our great features with doing this is you can actually create a collection. So if you haven't closed in inventory in a year that you want, you can create a collection, and those reports that were emailed to you, you can create like your fiscal year 23 reports. And you can add those in there. You can create that and put those in there, and then you'll have everything in there, and it'll be nice and organized and everything in one spot. You don't have to look for the email bundles and search back through your emails and all that. So it's going to have, you can create quick access to those prior years as well. If you have questions on how to do that after we implement your district, then just give us a quick ticket, and we'll be able to get that started for you. So that's going to be under system document storage in inventory. For the roles, the inventory standard and the inventory group manager. Those will be able to view, edit, upload, download, and delete, a very powerful thing, in document store in inventory. So for USAS and USPS, those are going to be under utilities, not systems. So that's utilities. And I know, like for the USAS, which is my demo instance here, it's going to be above file archive and encumbrance adjustment. I think in USPS it's just above file archive. So that is going to be, we'll show you our demo here. And so we did it here. So you can see I did this in this demo instance, and the files that were under the file archive are no longer there. So these are all gone. They're not gone, they're moved. Don't want to cause any panic. So they moved from file archive, and then they're above the encumbrance adjustment, and they're in this document storage. So here they are. They've just been moved from file archive to document storage. You can access them. It looks pretty much exactly the same. You can access it, view those. If you want to open up an appropriation summary, there it is. I think it's a little quicker, actually. You know, there it is, and it's like, yes, you know, this is from June 25, and this is when it was run. Those are all migrated over successfully, and they're all right here. Okay. So another with, I talked about the roles and what you can do. So if you have reports in there, and so like you can see, we had appropriation summary report and appropriation summary report 2. I know this can happen if you're opening, adjusting, or reopening, adjusting, and then resaving your report bundles into your document store backups or file archive backups. And if you don't want all those duplicates, you can do, like, if you didn't want these, you could go back and say, I'm looking at my timestamp 5/22. I don't want these from there. So if I could go in there and I could select those, like this budget summary one, 5/22, 5/22, 5/22, and I could actually delete those and take those out and avoid the confusion. And then, you know, the auditors would only see one set of reports, but just make sure when you do it, there's no undo button. So just, if you do it, make sure. And then you would just hit this delete button to delete those. I'm not going to do that because I'm overly cautious. But it is an option, because sometimes you open resave, like with PO adjust, maybe you had to adjust the PO or something, and you know, you just needed to do that, and just open it, adjust it, and reclose, and then you have many documents of the same type in the same month. So that's an option. So once the document store conversion is generated, all your reports should be in the document store rather than file archive. Sometimes when we're doing this, there's some little hiccups and different things that need, you know, something might not have done for one reason or other. And, you know, it's just, we need to sort out the hiccups in the system and make sure everything from the file archive is in the document store. We've kind of pinpointed our first 5 districts that we would like to do, and those are all set and ready to go. So we'll be contacting the treasurers of those districts, and we'd like to get started as soon as next week. We'd like to pinpoint a good time for the districts to do this. We're thinking possibly it's either maybe earlier in the morning or maybe later in the afternoon. A lot of people go home, you know, towards an earlier time if they get in early in the day. So maybe like 3 o'clock might be a good idea. But we'll talk to your district and find out what would be the best time for you to do this migration. A lot of the districts, we've got this kind of timed out. We've looked at the files and how large those files are, and we've timed out, maybe like somewhere between 45 minutes and 2 hours that this will take. It's not like when we converted from Classic to the USAS redesign and USPS redesign. It's a much quicker process for this. It's just moving files from one place to another. And so they just have to take those and move those. And most times it'll be 45 minutes to 2 hours. Larger districts, it might take larger or longer time because of the larger file size. But we'll be talking with you. So going back to the roles and what you can do and what you can see. Okay, so for the view and the download access to Document Store, you need at least standard read-only user plus, and for the payroll, it's module file payroll archive view. Okay, so just to see them. And then in USPS, it's that module file payroll archive view, or in USAS, it's USAS file archive. And that will allow view and download. Search is not available with those. So those might be better for maybe an auditor or maybe someone with a lower level needs for what they do in their job. The standard user also has view and download access. Search is not available for that type of user as well. But you could add one of those extras, like you could have a standard user and then add that USAS file archive. We could have 2 roles, and that would allow them to see that if you want that type of user to see the file archives. The USAS manager and USAS and the group manager in USPS, they will have view, edit, upload, so they can do the special create. I want to create special reports in there and make a section to house those, download, and the search. So basically with the managers, you get the search and you get the upload and then the create, which is different. So obviously this would not be something that you want an auditor to have. You don't want them, changing your records or doing anything. So, we have special auditor roles, just depending on the district, what we called it. Some of them we called it auditor. Some of it we called USAS read-only expanded. And then for those, we would add that USAS file archive if it's not in there already. And you can see what it is. You can view that if you're a treasurer, possibly assistant treasurer, just going into the here in your system and your users. And then you could look, we'll just pick somebody. You can see what kind of role that has. Okay, Colleen, I answered your question. Great. All right, so then that has the file archive manager. They also have USAS manager, but if they were USAS standard, then they could view that. And if you do the standard and then you do the file archive manager, then they could see the document store or the file archive. All right. So, and then of course, administrators, ITC staff, we can do like the same thing as the managers. Okay, and this is a screenshot of what it looks like. And we kind of looked at
Rhonda.
that. Yes.
I think only admins have the ability to delete. Is that true? I'm just looking at your notes there and I don't see delete under manager and group manager. I felt like that was done on purpose to prevent accidental deletion.
Yeah, that you are correct. You're reading better than I am at the moment. So, yeah. So if you want something deleted, just let us know in a ticket and we can go back and do that. It could also be possibly added. I'll have to look at what the rights are, the enabled rights.
I think we all agreed in a meeting that we didn't want anybody but admins to have the ability to do that in case somebody accidentally did it. which has happened. So I think that was reserved specifically for administrators. So
Good call. Thanks, Tanya.
you're welcome.
All right. Did I get all the questions in the chat?
Colleen wants to know how you can verify the roles. Most payroll managers have
Yeah.
the group manager role,
Yeah.
but Rhonda can show you.
Right. So you can look like this was the one for the Baker that was ours. And they actually had that file archive manager. I can get up the US payroll instance, which I did as well. I know. For Colleen, I was on the dark side, as she called it. Okay, so here's payroll. And they were done as well. So utilities. So the file archive, see, and then your document storage is right there. All right, it's right above it. In USAS, you have to go one more step above the encumbrance impacts. Okay, so for the user, so we'll get Tanya here. She's an administrator, but maybe we have somebody that.
The test as a USAS manager.
The test is okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the group manager, and so then you would want to put in. So they would be the one who could do everything but delete then. So, and then we have, let's see if we have that. There's, I don't know if that, oh, I'm not seeing it. Okay, custom field manager. We can always create custom roles to add to someone who needs that. So you just need to ask us about that. All right. So we can add that payroll archive view. We can create that and add that on if you need it. So in order for the document sort of work, we have to integrate it and configure it with your USAS, USPS, and inventory. Inventory is easy. It's a click of a button because we've never had it in there before. And then, as I said, you can contact us to create those files for prior years, load those in, or if you feel free to do that yourself, you can. Sometimes it's nice to just being a brand new function in a brand new module, it's good to kind of go over it with somebody for your first time. All right. So we're going to be working on this. We're trying to start as soon as next week. So we're going to be reaching out to the districts that are in our top 5 for doing this. They're the smaller districts and they have the IPDIPI on there. So those are easier for IT to configure that, but that's background information. All right. So if you have questions on the timetable, please contact us in a ticket so that we can figure out when we can do your district and when this would work best for you. We'll be reaching out to the treasurer for that. As I said, a lot of them are 45 minutes to 2 hours. And would either like to do it at the beginning or the end of the workday. Okay, now for the new features, the latest and greatest stuff. So there is a search option that is brand new with the document store. And that's using a search feature called Elasticsearch. And when your documents are brought over, they're indexed on the PDF files and they index all kinds of stuff. So you can look for text or numbers or something like that. And there's different ways to do that. So you can have a value inside quote. There's the count code, and you can separate with a space or a comma. You can do an or for multiple values. The wild card is the asterisk, So sometimes you can do an asterisk and some a percent, but in this feature, it's an asterisk. And then there's a plus you can do for the and a minus if you want to exclude items from a search. It's also going to show you the total hit, total things that are being returned, and a report name, the report names which are downloaded and where it's located. So over here, it's showing you where it is. It's kind of hard to see the payroll archive file set. And then 2026 pay payment detail. And it has some of that detail of the report, which hit, this example was 1098. And so it highlighted that, it bolded it right there in the top. So this is a great thing. And, you know, there's also load more results. It only gets so many, and then you can get more, or you can change your search in there. So we have an example of that. We are in the USAS one. Okay, so we're going to go to our document store. All right, and then we're going to go to the search tab all the way at the end. So I'm going to say, which one do I want to look for? I'm going to do the monthly file set. And I'm just going to say, I want to do this. I ran a budget summary, and maybe I'm just looking for things for this category, for this count right here. I'm going to paste that. And so I can do a search based on that account. And I got all those. Now I've got, these are 5 of 497. That's a lot. Do I really need things back from 2023? Maybe, maybe not. So I'm going to use that plus key for the and I'm just going to put in 2025. And let's see if that reduces what we get. It's 497. Now it's 214. Okay, so that limited it down. You kind of just have to be careful. I tried like a FY25. So it would just get the FY25. I'm not quite sure because it looked like it pulled in, like, didn't like that as much. So now it's like 548. So, and it's pulling in things from FY23. So I think it has to be within the report, not within this collection. So I'm not sure it's got some of the details in there, which has it. So it's kind of a, we have to kind of look at this. I mean, I'm not sure if I go put it in quotes, if it's going to look for just that account. You can try that. It's kind of a, it's a brand new thing. We're trying it out. Okay, that took it down to 265. Okay, and it got that FY25. So this looks like it's narrowing it down. We put it in the quotes, and that was over on the part where this, the account code. So they had it in quotes. Otherwise, it might take the chopped bits and, you know, it might do something else because that is a minus sign. And that, you know, it might be thinking of that minus is excluding something from the search. So I would say the account codes, let's put it in the quotes. And then I added in the fiscal year, and that helped chop things down. And then load more results that had those there. Okay, and you can just find out what you're looking for, and maybe I want this one, and then I can open that up, and there it is. And it was that. If we go back, I'm going to move this over. So I can see that. And You probably can't see it, but I can. And if I'm looking for this on that report, oh, it's doing like a PC search. Okay. We'll look for the first couple. Perfect. Trying to find where it's got it in here. Seven, 6, 31. Oh, because it's an appropriation. It's not going to have 3120. It's going to have 3100. All right, and then 400. So it'd be pulling it up from here. So that's what we'd be looking at with that. Not the top one, but the not letting me click it. Okay, so that's how you can use that. It's kind of a trial and error thing, so we're all new to it. Okay, and so that's the search feature. So I know, like accountants, we're always like, we've got the amount in our head and we're trying to find the amount. So this is very useful for that. The example was like $10.98. Like, I'm looking for this 10.98. And then so back over here with that amount, you can see that where we're looking for that and we found it. Okay, the other item that's new is create a collection. And I highlighted that inventory is going to be great for this. And you can do it for other things. So I went ahead and did a sample, like a bud sum for Fund 006, and I gave it a custom title, and I just ran a budget summary for June 30th for the end of last year. Obviously, I did it today, but I ran a sample report. So it's like, well, you know, I've got the sample one. It's not in my usual my filing, you know, my month-end closings, but I'd like to include this. So you can go into, I found it, if you want to create one, you have to be unique, like here. You have to be unique on your fiscal year and month, or it's going to error out on you. So say I wanted June of 2025. And even if I give it a unique name, it's not going to let me do the same. Budget summaries for Fund 06. If I try and create that, it's going to say, nope, you can't do that. You've already got something with 2025 and 12. So this would not be the best place to do this. I would go for the other, and oh, I had done that. We're just going to, and then create it here. And save that, and then you can upload that document, and then it has the drop file, so you select that. So I already ran that report, it's up there, and that's going to be in my download. Oh, okay, there it is. Okay, right here with this budget summary Fund 06, select that, open it, and now it's in there. And you could add other reports, you know, it's like, and you could go back in and say, oh, I want this a little more descriptive. I just want this for June 2025, and then move down here. I can just change that, save that, and then it's nice and descriptive there. And then as you go along, you could say, oh, I want to save all these reports every month. I want to create one and upload it. And this is, you know, if I want that there, it's there. So that's great. And that helps in the other tab. So that's another great feature. If you don't have it created to automatically load into your monthly reports, you want a special section for those type of things. So just kind of wrapping up here, Once we have the document storage integrated with USAS, USPS, and eligible on the inventory system, and it's been enabled, you'll go to the utilities document storage. And you'll be able to see that on the utilities menu. Newly generated bundles will go into the document storage. They're not going to go into file archive anymore. And then reports will no longer be able to be added to file archive. And then the document storage has those extra features such as search and creating a collection for you to put in special reports like you want. And more information, we have links here for the wiki, for the USAS for document store, for the USPS for document store, and then down below, we also have information for inventory for the document store, and that has instructions on how to add last year's reports on there, or you can create a ticket. We'll be glad to help. And for inventory, the newly generated report bundles will be in the system document storage. There will no longer be email too. So you won't be getting that email in there. They'll just be in the document store section with a link into the document store electronic file cabinet that links over there. So you'll be able to have that there. And over time, when all the districts in the state have completed their migrations to document store, they're going to remove that file archive link. So, which is, I mean, it seems a little scary, but there's nothing in there. So if you look here in the file archive, this is all blank. So, you know, you're not going to need it because everything is going to be in your document storage. So over time, they'll just remove it because it's going to be redundant right there. They're going to remove that one over time, but it's probably not going to happen for a while. So if people go in there and they're like, where's my files? Then it's like, just remember they're in document storage. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and take a look at comment and chat. Okay, we did the verifying the roles and all that. Are there any other questions? It seems like a lot. I think it's pretty intuitive with a move. It's just you have to know where things are, and you know, you might get questions from somebody who maybe looks at something every once in a while, like, oh, where are the reports now? If they have that access. But hopefully most of this is going to be treasurers, assistant treasurers, your payroll people, and the auditors. So the auditors should know that this is happening, and if they can't find the reports in one place, they need to go to the document store. So any other questions today? Nope. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Any questions, please submit a ticket. And I hope you got something out of this. It's a great feature. I think they've added some extra little features that are great. And we'll let you know and reach out when, oh, yes, and Amanda said she wants the document. I will post it in the meeting invite. I'll add that there, and then everybody should receive that document in the update. So, and then also we'll put the whole session on the back on the trainings and recordings there. The training recordings, we'll put that right at the top there. So you'll be able to view it if you need to review, or if you missed it the first time around. I know some people said they weren't going to be able to make it, so they can see that there and have the guide and all of that. Okay, everybody have a wonderful day.